Okay, welcome back. So this is our third video looking at the issue of the settlement or colonisation of the West by settlers coming from the United States. And in this video, we're going to look at the California Gold Rush of 1848-49. This obviously is a hugely significant event in the migration of Americans into the West. It dramatically increases the number of people moving to the West. We get, I think by about 1846, so 2 years before the discovery of gold, about 5,000 people have gone across the Oregon Trail into the West. During 1849 alone, there's about 90 to 100,000 people that have moved into California, many of whom have crossed the Oregon Trail. And that is hugely important for one of our other topics, which is about the relationship between the United States and the Plains Indians, because of course they're going right through Plains Indians land, and unsurprisingly, the Plains Indians were not terribly happy about that, and entirely justifiably, looked to the United States government for some, redress of their grievances, which was fair enough. Looking at this, what do we need to know about the gold rush? Well, just to give you a bit of an overview, obviously the starting point is the discovery of gold at Sutter's Mill in California by Henry Bigler and James Marshall. Now the timing is really significant because, of course, their discovery of gold comes pretty much about a month after California has been handed over to the United States by Mexico. In 1848, the United States defeated Mexico in the Mexican War, and one of their big territorial gains was California. If I go back to the map I showed you at the start, basically they get all of this land above kind of where that line is there, becomes part of the United States. So obviously that includes California on the west coast. So gold's discovered in 1848. News of that discovery leaked out pretty quickly. By the end of 1848, 10,000 people were in California digging for gold. There were 90,000 there by 1849. These were the 49ers, so-called, mostly men, mostly under the age of 30, but not just from the eastern United States. Many have come across from China. Some have come from Mexico in the south, all looking for the opportunity to gain a fortune. And of course, this is the first of a number of discoveries of gold in the broader West throughout this time period. We see a bigger gold rush in 1859 to Colorado, the Pikes Peak Gold Rush, which precipitates conflict with the Cheyenne Indians in the Cheyenne Wars, which leads to the Sand Creek Massacre. We've got discoveries of gold in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Dakota, Nevada, all silver. And of course, that encourages more and more people to move west. Now, actually, mining for gold was very difficult. A few miners become rich, but many really struggled. You might find, say, an average of $20 worth of gold a day, but the equipment costs you about $18 a day. So obviously, only maybe $2 a day profit. But many people went west and made money in other ways. A good way to make money was selling shovels to the miners. That was probably a way of generating a more stable income. Many failed miners actually ended up taking up farming, in the really ideal farming territory in California, brilliant climate, lots of land. Once the California Indians had been wiped out pretty brutally by the settlers, vicious sort of genocide really of the California Indians. They're able to make a living through farming. And of course, we also know that law and order is a big problem. This is far away from Washington, D.C. It's far away from the federal government. There's no organised police force. There's no organised law enforcement system. And in a sense, the miners end up trying to govern themselves and each other, and in a very kind of masculine, sort of culture, very male-dominated society, um, it can get quite messy pretty quickly. And the gold rush has a significant influence, a significant impact in three key ways. There's a population boom. California has a population of up to 500,000 people by the mid-1850s. San Francisco becomes the kind of biggest city of the West of the 19th century. Its population grows to 25,000 pretty quickly. But a whole range of new settlements grow all around the West. Virginia City is one example which grows and helps to provide services for miners. So these towns grow. They're providing saloons. They're there providing shops and services, brothels. It's pretty. It's a pretty kind of significant growth in the population and settlements quite quickly. And of course, the populations of these towns and cities becomes very diverse. We have Mexicans, Chinese, we have Black Americans, as well as white settlers moving into these places. And of course, that then links on to the second consequence, which is the significant law and order problems. Racial violence is a big issue. Chinese and Mexicans suffer persecution from white settlers. There's the slaughter of the California Indians that I mentioned as well. And of course, you have no organized law and order system. Vigilante justice takes over. And we also get very problems particular to mining. So claim jumping, for example. People try to steal mining sites from each other. You can imagine, again, how do you say that this bit of land is yours? How do you protect a claim that you stake, particularly if another group come along that has more people than you do? You can imagine it gets pretty violent, pretty messy quite quickly. The gold rush also leads to a massive economic boom. The gold rush really helps to put an end to the economic crisis of the 1830s and 40s that prompted many people to move west in the first place. We have huge growth in farming, particularly with the wheat industry in California takes off. It can be grown in large quantities in California. People come in to sell goods to miners, as we mentioned, shovels and beer, and make money that way. And all of this helped to provide, a huge kind of amount of money that led to, for example, the ability to build the railroads later on. To the west. So that economic boom is another significant consequence of the gold rush as well. Okay, in the next video, we're going to look at the second phase of westward expansion from the 1860s onwards. Okay, thank you.